Okay, so recently I was out in St. Louis at my corporate headquarters for the company that I work for, obviously, and we do it's every year. It's called the National Sales Meeting, and I go out and we spend a ton of time going over new things that are coming out in our industry and with my company itself. And we were sitting down one day for lunch in between meetings and all that, and I had this kid who started talking to everybody about gaming. There was one of the VPs of the company was at the table, and he was like just kind of shooting the shit with us and just asking us how things were going or whatever. And somehow we got on the topic of gaming. We got on the topic of professional gaming and getting paid to play and all that stuff. Now, most of the guys at the table are 30 plus, so they don't really understand the evolution of gaming and Twitch and live streaming and how it's become a legitimate job for people. They think that, gaming is it's something that you do. It's something that you do as a hobby. It's not a profession. It's not a way to make money. So to them, they're just kind of like, yeah. It's still stupid, even though people make millions of dollars doing it. Whatever. So this kid's sitting here and he's talking, and I have a side story for this kid because I don't really care for him too much. But anyway, that's besides the point. So we're sitting there and we're chatting about gaming and all that stuff, and he starts talking about how he made money and has made money gaming, and I'm like, this is interesting. Now this is my roommate at the time. When I was out in St. Louis, it's just random. They just randomly put us into the suites, and this kid happened to be my roommate. So we're sitting there where he's talking about gaming and all this stuff, and he brings up that he has made money playing Call of Duty. And I'm like, oh, this is my forte. This is what I grew up playing. So I'm very familiar with this, and I'm very in tune with what's going on recently with Call of Duty and World War II and how people don't like it and all that stuff, and the rosters and the game and the professional scene. So I'm sitting back kind of like, okay, what's this kid about to say? So he starts talking about how he goes to these tournaments, LAN tournaments, and unfortunately where I'm from, they don't have that around here. So I'm from Pittsburgh. They don't really have like LAN tournaments that they would have in LA, to where you get a group of guys together, you can actually go to these LAN tournaments and play and whatever, and qualify or whatever you want to do. They don't have that around here. So I was kind of interested in from that perspective to hear what he had to say. But anyway, so he starts talking about how he went to LAN tournaments and LAN games and all that stuff, and he has made money doing it. And I'm like, oh, this ought to be good. So he starts talking about how he is qualifying for Pro League and playing with against the professional teams. The side note here is that he said before this that he was asked, how long do you game? How often do you game? And he said about 1 to 2 hours a night. Now, he may have said that because the VP's sitting there, and if he says, oh, I game about 8 hours a day, that wouldn't line up very well to say that. Now, he could very well play more than that, but he says an hour to 2 a night. Now, if anybody knows anything about professional gaming, it's pretty self-explanatory or pretty understood that 1 to 2 hours a night isn't going to cut it, considering the competition that's out there. Even streaming 1 to 2 hours is not going to cut it. So I'm kind of like baffled. I'm like, so you're quote unquote qualifying for tournaments, but you only play 1 to 2 hours a night. So anyway, he doesn't know that I know this. He thinks that I'm just an idiot like everybody else at the table. So somebody says, well, when you go to these LAN tournaments, like how does it work? And he explains the system and how there's pool play and bracket play and all that stuff. And then they ask, like, is there any expenses? And he says, well, you pay to get into the tournament, but then you can win some money. And then they start bringing up like professional Call of Duty and how the COD champs is worth millions of dollars, or could be worth millions of dollars hopefully soon. I believe the Infinite Warfare, the take home for the winning team was like 800,000. So you're looking at over $1 million prize pool, split between the top however many teams. And he's saying that he is trying to qualify to be in that. And I'm thinking, do you realize how many pool play teams there are? Like how many people actually try to go and perform at LAN and then get into these type of tournaments? Like 1 to 2 hours isn't going to cut it, number one. Number two, if you are legitimately trying to do that, you're probably not working this type of job, because my job requires a lot of driving and a lot of time spent, in different parts of the state or whatever. So, your schedule's so random that you can't dedicate enough time to be with a consistent 3 other guys and then have consistent practices and strats and all that stuff. So it was funny how he puts himself in a similar situation to these professional gamers who play 10 to 12 hours a day. And it got me thinking, like, what defines a professional gamer? I've never understood that. You look at all these successful Call of Duty teams, even like PUBG, even Fortnite, I guess, is now considered you could be a professional gamer. I'm just kind of wondering what the true definition, if I had to go to dictionary.com and type in pro gamer, what would the definition be? Would it be somebody that makes money? Does that define you as a professional gamer? Because this kid said he made money playing in these LAN tournaments. Now, how much money? If he makes $50 in total, does that really is he really considered a professional gamer at that point? I don't know. I wouldn't say so. You know, if I win 10 GBs, you know, playing Call of Duty, does that make me a pro gamer? I don't think so. So it just got me thinking, like, what is considered professional gaming? And people throw that term around loosely. There's a guy that I watch, I won't say his name, but there's a guy that I watch that he considers himself a pro Fortnite player. Now, what makes him think he's not part of a team, right? He doesn't play for FaZe, he doesn't play for LG, or he doesn't play for any potential Fortnite pro teams. So what makes him a pro gamer? I mean, unless he's salaried by a team. But again, this guy isn't playing for a specific organization. So what defines him as a pro gamer? And that's the question that I'll leave, the open-ended question I'll leave for the comment section. I'm legitimately curious, because the term is thrown around so loosely by everybody that everyone just says, yeah, you know, so-and-so's a pro gamer. What does that mean? He makes money? I'm curious to find out. I'm curious to hear. So anyway, throwing up some Fortnite gameplay. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Solid win, but let me know in the comments section what you think, or give me your definition of a pro gamer. And depending on how much feedback I get, I might make a follow-up video to this. But without further ado, the end of the game, comment section, subscribe, follow, do all that shit. I guess you can't really follow on YouTube, but you get the point. Subscribe, all that cool shit. And I'll see you guys in the next video.